I have a light in the background. Tell me if you like it or not, or if it's distracting. What's going on, everybody? JaymesHanson back and to bring you another video, and I want to talk about the new teaser trailer for Bleach COUR 4 and why it is extremely important. But before that, hit that like, that subscribe if you want to see more videos like this in the future. Hit that notification bell as well on the way there, and let's get into it, shall we? So believe it or not, the last teaser trailer that we got wasn't really to the naked eye of the casual viewer anything to really write home about. You see two swords that merge into what seems to be one, and then it breaks, and then that's literally it. It's nothing too special and might confuse a lot of people, to which that's what it should do, but to manga readers we know exactly what's going on. And why this is important is if you look at every single teaser 3D, you know, the CG trailers that we get, there's always significant parts about the core within those trailers. For example, the last one that we had was Mimihage. We had the chair, we had the pinwheels, etc, etc. These were like fundamental parts of that core which were going to be elaborated on very much so. And you can take this as two things within this trailer too, is that one, we don't have much content. I think we have less than 30 chapters for COUR 4 of like of content until we go into original content. So you can see this as two different ways. You can see it as like they're saving, you know, a lot of content for, you know, the original stuff, which would have been better marketing, I would argue, because we would be sitting here kind of thinking, well, what does this mean and what does this mean? And, you know, marketing through content creation as well as the audience and the community would have been really good, but they went a different approach, and that was showing these two swords, which would be, well, I mean, if you haven't seen Ichigo Shikai, it shows Ichigo Shikai, and that's literally it. In fact, the original PV trailer for the first Bleach COUR 1000 Year Blood War, there's a lot of spoilers that are still in there that haven't come into fruition yet, and they could have used this teaser trailer to signify those things. And I'll just say a few characters rather than the spoilers themselves. I mean, you could have something pertaining to Kisuke, or pertaining to Kenpachi, or pertaining to Toshiro, for example, but they focused on this, and I'll tell you why, that this is the most singular important thing, especially for the Bleach community as well for the series, that we as the fans really need. So I've said this many times on streams and in videos in the past, and I really want to elaborate on this. The one thing that Bleach needs that its contemporaries have, right, from like Dragon Ball all the way from One Piece to Naruto, for Dragon Ball, Ultra Instinct, that was a big internet blower. When it comes to Gear 5 for Luffy, big internet blower. You know, you're talking about these things that was in like magazines. People are rushing to get the magazines to see if there was anything in there, rushing to the games to see if they would allude to anything through DLC packs or mobile games to see if there was going to be a drop. You know, people wanted to see these things. And then obviously you had Naruto with Baron mode, right? Byron mode, whatever the fuck it was called. And it's like, Ichigo had Mugetsu back in like 2010, and that was a big thing, and it is still renowned to be such a huge, impactful moment in Bleach, right? And we're getting to a point now where we're getting to like the end of the series, right? Much like, you know, most of its contemporaries had an end of the series transformation that kind of got everybody anticipated. And with the right marketing, Ichigo's Horn of Salvation and Bankai could be that big marketing merchandise monumental moment that Bleach needs to put itself just a little bit higher than where it needs to be. And when I saw this teaser trailer, I was absolutely filled with glee, and the reason that is because there is focus, and that's the most important part, is that out of everything that they put onto, sure, if they wanted to do what they did in previous things, you know, such as Orohara, you know, Kenpachi or Toshiro, I mean, those things definitely need a lot of focus, but what they're doing is they're selling this thing. This thing is the important part of this core, and they've put it out on display, and they've recognized this is the holy grail, essentially, of this core. And you know what that means? And I like to feel like I know about like Japanese marketing. I mean, a lot of it is common sense to me, and I have a pretty good track record of it nonetheless, right, for the most part. And to me, my first instinct is, this is the seller, right? And if this is the seller and this is the focus, then, you know, and I'm using it as an example, they're gonna make that the episode 6, right? The episode 6 of Core 1, the Yamamoto versus Yuha. They're going to make that the priority, right? And I know we don't really do priority episodes anymore, but, you know, you kind of understand what I mean by this is like, the focus is here. So if the focus is here and the selling point is here, then the episode or the moment itself is not surely going to be bad because the focus is there. Imagine like if it was still frames and it's like, well, you marketed it, you like you're self-aware of this thing for still frames, like that's not going to happen. So it's not like there's confidence there, but there's self-awareness there. And that is an important aspect, because if you're going to go around, this is the last core, and you're going to get staff to designate them to, okay, you're going to be on this episode, you're going to be on this episode, you're going to get your big dogs on this particular thing, because this is the thing that you're selling to people before the core's even got a release date. This is the teaser trailer. This is the thing that's going to get people hyped. There's no, oh, what does this pinwheel mean? Or what does this chair mean? What does this hand mean? There's none of that. Here's a sword, right? You know what's coming. This is the thing. So I think that this is not only a important self-awareness for the team, which is fantastic, but also for the community to have our time to shine, our moment to, I guess, and I say this like in quotations, our internet breaking moment where everybody is anticipated for this. I want absolute pure marketing. I want the website to change like they did with, you know, Yamamoto versus Yuha. You know, they did one for Shinji for some. Did they do one for Shinji? I can't remember. It was weird. I want them to have that moment. I want us all to be rushing to Disney Plus the moment that you know drops. And it's not going to break the internet because Disney Plus is a bit more competent than Crunchyroll, admittedly, but I want it to have that impact. I want it to have, you know, a sense of wanting and desire to go see that, and I want it extended on. And the fact that I think they are pushing the sword or swords, I do think it will be elaborated on. Again, less than 30 chapters. Again, this doesn't mean that in other trailers we're not going to see like the 3D, you know, CGI trailers of like, you know, the other things I mentioned, such as like Kenpachi and Urahara and Toshiro, for example. I'm not saying that those won't happen. I'm just saying that it is more of a centerpiece of work for Core 4, which I think is extremely important. Because if they didn't, truth be told, if they didn't show it, I would have been like, are they really gonna like, you know, hide this? And I think, you know, when it comes to like the other big three, or including Dragon Ball in this case, just because like there's three of them in this moment of context, you know, when we had things like Gear 5, like it was being teased in the film Red movie, right? Dragon Ball Ultra Instinct, you know, we had that being teased for, you know, in games, Xenoverse and Dokkan Battle and other things. We had that teased for a long time too. So I'm really interested to see where the marketing goes from here, and I think that this is the start. I feel like the moment we get a date for Core 4, I'm really going to have my eyes peeled on where the marketing direction is going to go, of what they're going to do with Ichigo. Because if I start seeing more, if you guys start seeing more push or hints towards Ichigo's Bankai, for example, you know that this is going to be something special. And should be something special. So all I can say is just keep your eyes out on that. And that's my initial thoughts to this reaction for this trailer. And I cannot be excited enough. I know it's a sad thing because it is going to be the last core. I think there is going to be a future for Bleach, and I will touch upon that in the future because I would like more elaboration before I start getting people's hopes up. And then we go back into like the sense of like, oh, James is pushing the narrative that Bleach is coming back, and it's like, no, I want to make sure that everything that I know is within concrete and makes sense. So with that being said, I'm gonna catch you motherfuckers later. You guys, of course, have this fine day, JaymesHanson, and as always, people, peace out.